there, amazing listeners. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Transform Yourself, the podcast that's all about empowering you to shed those stubborn pounds and embrace your best selves. We are your hosts, Kacy and Tyler. We use the 4 M's of fitness, mind shift, meal shift, micro habits, and muscle building to create attainable and sustainable weight loss. We've lost a collective 130 pounds. We've kept it off for about 3 years. So if you are a fitness enthusiast, a beginner, maybe you're just curious about making positive changes, Transform Yourself is a go-to source for inspiration, information, and a good dose of motivation. And today's podcast, we are going to speak about what I wish I knew in my 30s. Oh man,
or your 20s or your 40s.
I mean, really, what I really wish I knew prior to prior to knowing all the things about the 4 M's of fitness.
Yeah.
So I am, just for reference, I am 49 years old at this point. I think I was around 45 when I lost the weight, when I lost 70 pounds, and I was no longer a yo-yo dieter, is around the age I was. And really, honestly, I feel like I'm somebody who dieted for most of my 30s and half of my 40s. And I really wish I had known these 5 things that I'm going to share with you earlier. And it's not as if people weren't telling me these things. I probably really
You probably heard these things, but
I
you
wasn't
didn't
listening.
hear them. Yeah, exactly. You heard them, but you weren't listening.
Right.
You didn't do anything with the information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm here to share this information with you, but I hope that you're listening, because I for sure was somebody who thought, oh man, I'm in my 40s. Weight loss is so much harder in your 40s than it is your 30s. I'm only getting older. Weight loss is harder now. But weight loss was harder because I wasn't listening to all of the things that I should have been doing. And if you're in your mid 40s, it is absolutely possible for you to get to your goal weight.
Of course it is.
Absolutely possible for you to maintain that goal weight. All of it is possible. It is not too late. Even if you're in your 50s, it is not too late. Your 60s is not too late. You can make positive changes with yourself, with your body. So here we are, 5 things that I wish I knew in my 30s. Number 1, the importance of weightlifting over cardio. And
I feel like a lot of women have trouble with this one. I'm going to get bulky.
Yes.
I don't want to do that.
I literally have women tell me on Zooms many times, the look they give me when I start talking about the weight training program I'm going to put them on.
What is it?
They are so afraid of getting bulky.
And then
understand. I don't know. Maybe some women, if you're looking at me on my Instagram or TikTok, and you're like, "Ooh, she's bulky." Maybe people think I'm bulky. I don't know who thinks I'm bulky.
I don't think you're bulky.
I don't think too many people do think I'm bulky, but I lift heavy weights. I lift heavier weights than most women lift.
9 or 10 pounds. It's
right. I don't lift 9 or 10 pounds.
Well, I mean, you're benching 9 or 10 pounds.
I'm benching more than 9 or 10 pounds. But actually right now I'm not benching anything because of my shoulder pain. But yes, I get what you're saying. So I lift heavy weights, heavier than many women in the gym, and I am
pushing yourself.
I am pushing myself, but I am not somebody who's bulky. So if you're looking at me and you're worried about getting bulky, I mean, I'm not bulky. So you're going to lift half the weights that I'm lifting at this point if you're starting, and if it's not easy to get bulky. Exactly.
It's very difficult to get bulky. You have to be trying to get bulky.
The other thing is that you told me, you, Tyler, you told me in my 30s that when I was going through many phases of yo-yo dieting, you would tell me, you need to get in the gym and weightlift. You need to do weights. You would tell me that. And I remember you telling me that and me thinking, that's just rubbish.
That's malarkey?
Yes, that's malarkey. That's baloney.
I said that to you?
You would, yes. I remember you telling me that I should do weight training and stop trying to do all the cardio that I was doing. And listen.
Oh, man, I didn't know what I was talking about. So just it shows you a broken clock is right twice a day.
I mean,
and I just got lucky.
You would tell me those things. And I remember thinking, no, that's not true. That's not going to work for me. I don't see how that can work. He was right, ladies. So yes, I'm okay with admitting that my husband was right. He can be right.
About weightlifting. About telling you to weight.
You can be right twice a day. It's fine.
Yeah.
So it's not our fault though. If you're in your 40s and your 50s, listen, we all grew up with moms that were doing the Jane Fonda workouts that were, it was cardio or bust. It was burn as many calories and get as sweaty as you can in the gym to look as thin as you can. And that's what we saw our moms and our aunts and we saw them doing that. It is not lost on me that that's where we get that idea from. Women are still at this point, most of women that I speak to in their 40s and their 50s are very stuck on making sure they're getting in enough cardio. Mm-hmm. Cardio is great for your heart. Cardio is great for mental health.
Or if you just like it, it's
cardio
fine.
is great if you love it. That's true. If you like to run, go for a run. But cardio is not going to give you long-term weight loss benefits.
Yeah.
It's hardly going to give you short-term weight loss benefits.
Really, it's not
because
it's actually terrible for weight loss.
I mean, it's really
because
not going to give you
like if you 3 miles to 3 miles, walking 3 miles, running 3 miles. God, I wish
burns
I had
about the same calories.
It's not very much different.
Right.
So if you like it, go for it. But if you're just going out to get movement, walking's totally fine. And you're going to get almost the same amount of, calorie expenditure, but you don't have to worry about injuries. You don't have to worry about.
Well, let's talk about
a million other things. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about the idea that weightlifting is beneficial for weight loss because you're going to build muscle. We want you to build muscle. Why? Because when you build muscle, you're going to boost your metabolism. You're going to boost your resting metabolic rate. It's not about the hour that you spend at the gym. It's about the other 23 hours of the day that you are burning extra calories because you have raised your resting metabolic rate. And then if you are burning extra calories throughout the other 23 hours a day, boom, it's so much easier. You could literally not even put yourself in a calorie deficit and over time build muscle and lose fat. Mm-hmm. Because
you're making your body burn more.
Burning more calories at
engine.
rest.
Yeah, the engine that your body is, the more muscle it has on it, the more calories it burns.
Right. You're no longer a V4, you're a V6 or a V8, right? Yeah. Much more efficient engine. So there you go. Is that how that works in cars? I don't even know. I
wouldn't say efficient.
I'm making things up. I don't know how that works.
It's more.
I know nothing about cars.
I mean, it's more power, I guess you could say.
Okay. More power.
You get more
I'll take
horsepower.
Okay.
Burning more calories.
That's fair.
Ergo, more gasoline, I guess. I don't know.
And I do always say you cannot outrun your fork. It's true. I mean, ladies, yes, sure. You can. You ate a cookie yesterday, but that does not mean you need to punish yourself through a treadmill run the next day. Don't worry about it. Go to the gym and work on muscle building.
And
this is what's going to give you longevity in life. This is what's going to give you longevity and sustainability with fat loss. This is absolutely what has given me the freedom of being able to not gain the weight back.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not gaining the weight back is because I am building muscle. That's why. Because for the first time in my life, I am now focused more on strength training than I am on cardio. Mm-hmm. I don't focus on cardio at all. In fact, I do.
You don't do it that much.
I rarely, very rarely. I do go on walks. Now, that is, I don't know that I'm going to consider that cardio. That's more of
just getting movement.
Low intensity, steady state training. Mm-hmm. It's called LISS training. But I do that because it is important just to get the low intensity, steady state movement in. That will help you burn fat and it will give you the same benefits as cardio. So there you go, without hurting your joints. Number 2, that was number 1. What I wish I would knew in my 30s. Number 2, what I wish I knew in my 30s. Oh man, I really wish I knew that carbs were not the enemy.
Wait, what? Carbs are not the enemy?
I know. Carbs are not the enemy. Carbs are your friend. Carbs are not the enemy. I probably went almost, I would say I went like 4 or 5 years of my life where I didn't have pasta. Like I would not allow myself to have pasta. Like, do you remember?
When was this?
This is probably after having kids, before moving back, or like right after we moved back to Texas.
Back when we only ate like zoodles and stuff?
Yeah.
That's so gross.
I mean, zoodles are still, I still like zoodles. They're delicious. Those are zucchini noodles for those of you wondering.
Whoa.
But I still love those. I like them raw though. I don't like to cook them.
It's like, how would you like your zoodles prepared? Raw, please.
I love zoodles.
I'd like zoodles tartare.
Yeah, zoodle tartare with pesto sauce. Delicious. Okay, moving on. You're making me think about zoodles. All right. So,
yeah.
Back to carbs. So I thought carbs were the enemy. I did not want to eat potatoes. I wouldn't eat potatoes. I wouldn't eat pasta. I would eat breads. I would eat kind of lower calorie breads. I still eat lower calorie breads, but it would be a rarity. And it's like, I thought they were completely the enemy. I mean, I was one also that thought a banana was the enemy because a bananas had too many carbs. I look at myself now and I think, oh my goodness. I mean, carbs are what provide us with all of the energy that we need to go do the strength training I just talked about. They're critical. Important role.
They're very important
in overall health.
Yeah, I think that's also like one of those things where people also will identify like, oh, I shouldn't eat all that sugar. And then just kind of like extrapolate it to like, oh, all carbs are bad. It's like, well, just don't eat, 7 or 8 cookies a day.
Right.
Also that.
I mean, so there are simple carbs and there's complex carbs. Mm-hmm. And so it's about incorporating the healthy carbs, the complex carbs into your diet instead of the simple carbs. Simple carbs are like white refined sugar, and the cookies and the candy, that kind of thing, right? So it's about incorporating healthy carbs into your diet. It's about not eliminating an entire macro, because when I did, I mean, there were times when, because I did eliminate carbs for a period of time, when I did have them, I would just go bananas.
Go off the rails.
Yeah. Literally go off the rails and absolutely overeat. And then at that point, I would think, I would have my all or nothing thinking. And then I would be like, I've
already been bad today.
I've been bad. I already blew the diet. There I go. Never mind. I'm just going to go ahead and just have this again. And so
let's go wild.
It was there you have it. That was my yo-yo. That was part of the yo-yo, because I would restrict and then I would binge and then I would restrict and then I would binge. And realizing that you can incorporate all things in a very healthy way is a healthy way. Period. Number 3, understanding that scale weight is only a data point. Oh boy, do I wish I would have known this. That's a very controversial thing, I'd imagine, with a lot of people. It is. It's hard. It's hard to convince women.
Because your self-worth is wrapped up in that number.
Yes.
For a lot of people.
It is so hard to convince women to weigh themselves daily. I am sensitive to the idea that some women are so wrapped up in the idea of the number defining their self-worth that it triggers them. And when I feel that scale weight is triggering for a woman, I won't make her start I won't have her weigh herself daily. I might have that woman weigh herself 3 times a week instead. But we try to work through the idea that scale weight is only a data point, and it is not a data point of which we should have any self-worth attached to, period.
You can't hang your hat on it,
Me in my 30s, 100%, I would decide I'm going on a diet. it would always start on a Monday because
that's when diets start.
Diets start on
Mondays. They don't start on.
They don't start on a Wednesday.
Who
That'd
would
be
start
weird.
a diet on a Friday?
I don't know.
For real, no one. Nobody would.
Nobody's going to start a diet on Friday.
That's kind of dumb.
So I would start a diet on a Monday. I would get on the scale on Tuesday, and if I gained a pound, I would immediately be like, "Well, that didn't work." I mean, that's it. Like
time for donuts,
right? Didn't work. Or maybe, in another scenario, I would start a diet on a Monday and I would, ooh, yay, I lost weight. Tuesday morning, I had lost a half a pound. Fantastic. Wednesday morning, I lost another half a pound. Yay. Thursday, woohoo, down another half a pound. Friday, boom, up 2 pounds. And bam, that's it.
All your progress is gone.
All my progress is gone.
Motivation's gone.
Everything's gone. I'm a failure in my head. That's it. I'm devastated. I'm a failure. This diet didn't work. And it's over. And again, that takes me back to why I was a yo-yo dieter, because boom, in my mind, that scale, 100%, that
defined who you were.
Moment was defining for me.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something that you realize that the scale weight is going to fluctuate 90% of the time based on water weight. Mm-hmm. Your water weight the day before versus water weight the next day versus water weight the next day versus over. Now, if you're looking at weekly averages, a weekly average of scale weight is what is going to give you the best data. Now, there are some apps out there like Happy Scale, I believe is one.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, Happy Scale is one. I think you have to pay for that one.
What does it do?
It's an app where you can enter your weight in daily, and it will give you a running average of your 7-day average for you.
Okay.
And then it will give you a graph, and it gives you a lot of data.
Okay.
So it helps you see big picture instead of each day, because each day does not define us. Big picture, we're looking for trends. Mm-hmm. Or if you join one of my group challenges, you will get into my brand new app where you will get to enter your weight as many times as you would like to enter your weight, but my app will give you averages. It will give you an average of your last 7 days. It will give you data. It will give you graphs to look at. When I look at one-on-one client weight, I am not looking for what happens day over day. If they gain weight on Wednesday from Tuesday, okay, I'm not worried about that.
There's
client.
a million different reasons they could be doing everything right.
I had one of my one-on-one clients ask me last week, is it normal to gain weight when I'm losing weight? Yes, it is. And I know that might sound contradictory to so many people. You're like, wait, how do you gain weight when you're trying to lose weight?
Because it fluctuates.
So nobody loses weight linearly. A weight loss graph for any human being is going to look jagged. It is going to look like little miniature peaks and valleys. But the overall trend is a downward sloping trend. And that is what we should be focused on. So even me, when I was losing the fat, there was a time period or 2 or 3 where I would gain weight 4 or maybe even 5 days in a row. Mm-hmm. The scale went up for 4 or 5 days in a row because the data points would go up, 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 up. And then boom, I would hit a drop.
Yeah.
And then again, it would just fluctuate. But overall, I was trending in the downward direction. That's what matters. So we have to desensitize ourselves from the scale. I have a part of my Transform Yourself course where I talk about using the CTFAR method. It's a model that I use to help desensitize yourself from the scale. If you're interested, I will be doing another one of those in January, a live course in January. I'm kind of giving a little away here, but that's something upcoming that I have going on. Very excited about what's to come. All right. That was number 3. We are on number 4 of the things I wish I knew in my 30s. I wish I knew consistency mattered over intensity.
That's probably the most important thing on that list.
You think so?
Yeah,
Why?
because I think being consistent is the hardest thing about any kind of thing you're trying to transform your life, whether you're going back to school, you're trying to start a business, you're trying to lose weight, or whatever, is sticking with it every day, day in, day out.
Yeah.
Doing those little things every single day. That's so incredibly hard. It's easy to be intense for a day or a couple days or even a week, but getting up and going for a walk, getting up, exercising, 6 months, that's hard. That's really hard.
It is hard. And it goes back to the saying that we've said it before. We would rather be consistently good than occasionally great. Yep. Always better to be consistently good than occasionally great. Because consistency good is what's going to bring you results over time, period. It's about prioritizing consistency. That's it. You have to prioritize consistency. And that means that if you are looking at your weekends differently than you used to look at your weekends, great. Because guess what? If you look at your weekdays, Monday through Thursday, or maybe Monday through Friday for some people, it depends on how you look at your weekdays and weekends, as the time of which you are going to be, quote, on track, and then your weekends as free for all, that's not consistency. That's not what consistency looks like. So you have to take a look at what does it mean to be consistent. I talk about this with my group coaching participants. I talk about this with one-on-one clients. I talk about this in my Transform Yourself course. And I talk about the idea that if you are not sure whether or not you're consistent, then get out a habit tracker and track things that you would like to be consistent at. Like if you want to be consistently in a calorie deficit, track how many days of the month are you in a calorie deficit? Is it 70%? That's not consistent. I don't consider 70% consistent. I consider consistent closer to 85%. That's what I consider consistent. If you want results, 70%, you might see some result, but 85%, you're going to start seeing results.
But yeah, because 30%, you're undermining. I think that's also the issue with weight loss is when you're not like on track. It's not the fact that you're just like not on track, but you're probably actively undoing the work. That's probably also why it's super important.
Yeah. And when you undo your own work, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
That's super frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel it. This is why women come to me frustrated that they can't lose the weight. And they're frustrated because they can't seem to be consistent. But that's because we have to also take it back to the idea that what do you want most? Do you want your long-term goal? Or do you want that short-term reward sitting right in front of you?
You mean that's the cheesecake that's right there?
Yeah, yes, that cheesecake. Yes. Do you want that cheesecake or do you want the long-term?
Cheesecake.
Yeah. You want the cheesecake.
Right. Well, I'm very hungry. I've been in the sun a lot today.
You have been.
I want... Oh
We're gonna get through this podcast, but we're not gonna have a cheesecake. We don't even have cheesecake in the house, but we have things that will taste delicious, and I can make low calorie. So lucky you, you're married to me.
I'm gonna stab someone for cheesecake.
No, you're not.
Okay. I'm saying I would consider it.
Right now, you feel that way.
Yes.
So, well, listen, we don't even have cheesecake in the house. All right, moving on. We're on number 5. Number 5. We're on number 5.
Number 5.
Okay.
Wrap it. Bring it home.
Okay. So number 5, I really wish I had known in my 30s the crucial role of protein. I 100% did not know the role of protein in my 30s. And I would say the same is true for a good portion of my early to mid 40s. I had no idea how important protein was. And I now know, and I really wish I had known this and the weight training and, oh man.
Yeah. I think about that sometimes, that it's like, man, when I was younger and lifted, but I know that I had nothing with my diet dialed in at all, that if I just would have eaten enough protein, I would have gotten so much bigger and so much stronger.
Right.
But I just know I didn't.
I mean, I'm grateful that we get to be our best selves now. But man,
I wish I could have been my best self then too.
Right?
That's all I'm asking for.
Right.
Today's great, but also then.
Right. So the good news is that you can still be your best self in your mid 40s or hey, you are, well, I don't, how old are you, Tyler?
41.
Isn't this sad? I don't know how old my husband is.
41.
41. So he became his best self in his late 30s, early 40s. All right. So protein, it plays a really significant role in muscle repair, in weight loss, because it provides satiety. It has the highest thermic effect of food, which means that you are actually burning more calories while you digest protein over carbs or fats. It is published in many journals of nutrition that demonstrate that when you increase your protein, you are going to likely help increase muscle mass, which is going to improve weight loss. This is where we need to be. We need to be strength training. We need to be eating high protein. We need to be keeping ourselves satisfied so that we can make fat loss easier. And most of my recipes, or many of my recipes that you see on Instagram, you're going to see that I am the calorie deficit queen, but I also share protein. People do constantly ask me, can you please share the fats and the carbs? I don't share the fats and the carbs with
Why not?
I don't, because I don't care so much about fats and carbs. I truly do not care about fats and carbs, y'all. If you are in a calorie deficit,
Or if you're in your maintenance.
or if you're in maintenance, it doesn't really matter. If you're in maintenance or a calorie deficit and you give yourself a protein goal that is an appropriate protein goal for you, then you hit those two targets. If you hit those two targets, you don't have to worry about fats and carbs. And guess what? Worrying about 2 numbers over 4 numbers is way easier. It simplifies the process and you see results. I have had client after client after client lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, and keep the fat off by simply looking at calories and protein. And it works. And it works time after time.
It is so much easier.
Woman after woman, women in their 30s, women in their 70s. It works. So it just simplifies the process. And I can't stress enough, protein is just so important. Again, this is something I go over in my Transform Yourself course. It's prioritizing protein. It's one of the pillars of the second M, meal shift, of the 4 M's of fitness. So to recap, the 5 things I wish I knew in my 30s. Number 1, I wish I knew that weightlifting was king. Weightlifting is king.
Is important.
Weightlifting
it's super important.
So important.
It's some say the most important.
I wish I knew carbs were not a demon. I wish I knew that scale weight was just a data point. It did not define my worth. I wish I knew that consistency was so much more important than intensity. I wish I knew how important protein plays in fat loss and muscle building. So those are the 5 things that I really wish I had listened to, because I heard people say these things, but I really thought it was malarkey.
Yep.
I thought it was baloney. I thought it was
gibberish.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
It was
I was like, I thought that was a
bunch of hoonanny.
I thought it was for men. That was, protein is for men. Muscle building is for men. Carbs are for men or for runners. That's what carbs are for. Like, not for me. I thought all of these things were true, but true for other people, not true for me. And I'm just here to mention to you, the listener, those 5 things, those apply to you. They apply to you, the person listening, thinking, I don't know about that. I really like getting on the elliptical, making sure I burn 500 calories a day so that I can eat back the 500 calories. That's not how that works, people.
Yeah.
That is not that is not going to suit you long term.
And that's so, oh my gosh.
That was my old thinking. It doesn't work.
You're going to be on a treadmill that's never going to end because you can eat those calories back way quicker than you can burn them.
For sure. So I encourage you to reflect on these insights. I encourage you to consider how you can apply maybe just one or two of these things to your life. I invite you to share any of your experiences on social media. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Transform Yourself. If you're looking for weight loss resources, maybe you're looking for a group coaching program to join. Maybe you want to calculate your calorie deficit. You can do that for free on my website. You can calculate your protein goal on my website. Maybe you're looking for low-calorie cookbooks. All of those things I mentioned, all of them are at thecaloriedeficitqueen.com. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a review, share your love. And until next time, keep shining, keep smiling, and keep transforming yourself.
Adios.